Hey guys, welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. A wonderful day. We are visiting friends and a wonderful farm. We are at Shepherd's Watch Farm down here in Harrison, Tennessee. And look who do we have with us today.
Hi everybody.
We have Mr. Jeff, and he is going to be giving us some great pointers and tips on beekeeping, because I know a lot of you have a lot of questions and have a lot of interest in beekeeping for next year. And this is my wonderful mentor, and he is going to be sharing a lot about...
Well, the first thing we're going to talk about is hive orientation and how you want to orient your hives to give them the maximum amount of clearance and sunlight. And then we'll be talking a little bit about hive stands and why that's important, including the height of the hive stand. And then we'll talk a little bit about site preparation and things that you can do to make it easier on you, the farmer or the homesteader, when you mow or trim, and also make it easier on the hives. There are things you can do that also help combat the small hive beetles. So hold on, here we go.
Let's get started.
All right, everybody. We're here at one of our hive sites, and I have two hives set up. And if you'll notice, we've got quite a few boxes or supers on, so these hives are doing very, very well. This typical hive stand for us is set up for 3, but we only do have the 2. I'm going to talk to you right now about orientation of your hive stand and your hives to maximize the effort for the bees. They have the least amount of effort that they have to do, and it also gets them in the sun the first thing in the morning to warm those hives up. Alrighty. So I'm going to have Patara kind of follow me around, and let's give you a bee's eye view of what the bees see whenever they go out. You're behind the hive right now, looking outward, and this is their launch. This is the way that they launch out of the hive and come back to the hive. And the things you kind of see there is there's no impedance in front of them. We keep the grass mowed, so there's nothing that they have to fly into or around. And also, it gives them their flight path is basically unimpeded until you get several hundred yards out, and that's perfectly fine for them. The other thing is these hives are oriented to where you've got an easterly face. That way the hive hits that sun, that early morning sun as it's rising, and gets them warmed up just as soon as they can. Because as they warm up, especially on those cold, cool spring mornings where you want to get them out foraging, you want to make sure those hives are in the sun and everything. Now, I want to have Patara kind of turn behind us a little bit and turn around. And this is behind the hives. And this is a natural windbreak. So this would be to the west. And we get all of our weather here from the west, wind and heavy rains and stuff. So the rear of the hives are kind of protected with that. So even in the cold winter winds, you're getting a windbreak here with all this foliage and stuff. And we try to maximize that. So that's something that you need to consider as to when you place your hives, what their orientation is going to be, and how that's going to affect the bees, and making sure that they have a clear and open flight path. Hey guys, we're back, and we're at a different site, not far from the first one we just did, and we're going to be talking about the hive stands and how important that is. We talked earlier about orientation of the hives, and this still gives a good east-northeast flight path for the bees to come in and out of the hives. Hive stands, however, are kind of important, and that's kind of to each his own. Everybody's got an opinion. I like to use the 2x6 and ladder approach for mine, and cinder blocks. You can just stack individual hives on 8-inch cinder blocks. The key is to get them 18 to 24 inches up off the ground.
Say that one more time so everybody knows.
The key is to get them at least 18 to 24 inches off of ground level. And that's very important because it keeps the critters out, the mice, the possums, the skunks, anything else that goes crawly. It's not going to really help you much with bears and stuff, but hey, they take theirs when they get it. But that's a big consideration, is your hive stand and how you choose to build it. So think it out whenever you're going to do it. Look at a lot of different things and whatever works for you. And then take the time. The key there is making it at least 18 to 24 inches and making it level. So you'll have to do some digging and everything to bring it level.
And you've got a combination of the wood
and cinder blocks.
And cinder blocks.
And this works well for us. And if you want to pan behind here a little bit, Patara.
Sure.
it looks like I've got extra hive stand back here,
Yes, you told me to do this,
and I build it like
and
this.
you need that. Yeah,
You,
yeah.
I build it like this, folks, for a reason. That's a workspace for us. That lets me put extra hive equipment, my toolbox, tool bag, everything of that nature right there, and it just extends off the middle of the hive stand. And it's supported, of course, but when you're pulling honey, and it gives you a place to stack things, and just so you're not laying everything on the ground.
Right, so when you're taking your telescopic off, you can lay it right there. When
That's
you're
correct.
taking off your inner cover, you can put it right there. If you have to take the box off, it goes right there.
That's correct.
Yes.
Also, I let my cinder blocks kind of extend back here, so I can actually set a telescopic right here or an inner cover right there.
Right.
Depending on whatever I'm needing to do at the time.
I did notice you have a special guest here with your hive.
We
Isn't
do.
she beautiful?
She is gorgeous.
I did. Friendly all the time.
Yes.
Well, this is a great setup, Jeff. You've taught us well with seeing the level. When we were building ours, you were like, you need to go back and do this, or you should probably think about adding that next time. And now that we're into it and doing it, you're spot on.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey everybody, this is kind of a continuation of what we've been talking about. This is a hive stand that we have with a backdrop of a planting shed that's to the west, so it gives a good break. East would be this way, so when I add hives to this, they're going to be facing east, warming up in the mornings. And what I'd like for Patara to zero in now is what I'd like to talk about is what's underneath it. You don't want to really have to mow or weed eat underneath your hives. Beeves don't like that. I mean, they're a little more tolerant of a mower, but they're highly intolerant of a weed eater. Something about the harmonic of the sound of the weed eater really sets them off. So we try to use, keep from using that as much as we possibly can. What you can do here is, before you build your hive stand and your blocks, excuse me, you can take landscape fabric or plastic and put that down, and then you can put mulch, or you can put your gravel or whatever in place on that, and then build your hive stand. What that's going to do is keep you from having to weed eat and mow up in there. But the other thing it's going to do with that fabric or plastic is that's going to help break the cycle of the small hive beetle, because as they fall through the hive onto the ground, they have to get down to the dirt to reproduce. If they can't get to the dirt, guess what? Then you've broken that small hive beetle cycle. So that's why site preparation prior to building your hive stand is very, very important. So again, either landscape fabric or plastic, and it's your choice what kind of mulch you want to use, or if you want to use gravel and stuff, but give it out far enough to where I'm actually able to take the mower and in one swipe come right there. And I can do that to pretty much any of my hives. I don't dawdle in front of the hive, of course, and I try to do that midday when most of the foragers are out. You're only going to get 1 or 2 passes before you make them really, really angry. So make sure your mower's sharp, and take your time, and just, do a couple swipes in front and then give it a break a little while, and then you can finish. And I've never had a problem. And the key there is to keeping it mowed in front of the hives is to not impede their flight path, both exiting the hive, going to forage, and coming back in. Imagine, if you will, and let's go over to this hive right over here, and Patara's going to kind of go to a different site. Imagine, if you will, that you have one of your girls, and she's fully loaded with pollen, or she is fully loaded with nectar, and she's heavy, and she's got to come back in and land on the landing board. But you've got everything grown up in front of her, and she's having to dodge that. I mean, picture, if you will, a bee, kind of like an aircraft landing on an aircraft carrier. They come in fast and hard, and they smack in, and having this unimpeded in front is very, very important. Hey everybody, welcome back, and thanks for watching the video here. Last little thing I'd like to talk about, we've already talked about orientation of the hives and making sure you maximize the early morning sun according to their position. We've talked a little bit about hive stands and the different types that you can do. And then we talked about preparation under the hive stand for facilitating ease of mowing around it, and for control of the small hive beetle. Now, I have my handy assistant here, my wife Sharon, and this kind of demonstrates why we build our hive stands the way we do. As the hives come higher with more and more supers, more and more honey supers on here, it makes it easier for Sharon and myself to be able to get up here and work these hives. Because again, a full 8-frame medium honey super is going to run about 60 to 70 pounds. And that can be rather heavy, especially if you're working high like this. But if you're able to stand up here like Sharon is, it's easier to move the boxes. One other thing I'd like to show you before we close, something we do around the concrete cinder blocks here is I use rock salt. And that's just ice cream salt that you buy at your local grocery store. And I scatter that around each of the blocks on the ground. And that helps to deter other bugs and crawly pests. They don't particularly like the salty environment. It lasts for a while, and it's a non-chemical that you can apply to help with insect and bug control. And we try to be very particular about not using any type of chemicals around our hives, and we're very minimal when we do anything inside our hives for treatments. That's just the way we do our apiary. So thank you guys for watching and taking the time out. And if you have any questions, please feel free to make some comments. We'd like to hear from you.
Awesome. As
Hi, everybody.
always, we're closing it out. I learn something every time, every day. I learn something, so I need to get the salt.
Salt.
That's what I got to do next.
Just rock salt.
Just
ice cream
rock salt, just like Nana's got with the ice cream. And it's hot here in East Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
It's hot. Girls are doing awesome. You're all gonna have a lot of honey this year.
I'd like to have several hundred pounds. That would be nice.
Several hundred would be good. Well, guys, we're gonna break. We thank you for having us down. Blueberries and bees. It's been a good day. We'll see you on the next video.
Bye.